Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Sarah. This is Selena. So it's been a while since we last recorded a video together, but we're both first year university students, but I go to Queen's University and I'm living off campus, and I go to Western University and I'm living on campus. So this video will be split up into two parts. So the first part will be about our opinions and experiences of our first year so far, whether that is campus life or extracurriculars. And the second part of this video will be probably why most of you are watching it, so it'll be a comparison about our two business programs and why we're both studying business but at two different schools. So we'll be comparing Queen's Commerce and Western for Ivey. So for the first question of a Q&A, it is, how do you like the profs and TAs? So for some background information, Ivey is a second entry program, so that means it only starts in third year. So for the first 2 years, you can take whatever program you want, so it doesn't have to be business. So I did take business, so I took the Bachelor of Management and Organizational Studies, which is BMOS in short. So because this is such a big program, like there's like 500, 600 of us, I would say the profs definitely are supportive and there's a lot of resources, you know, but also like a lot of the first year courses at Western get more support than upper year courses. However, specifically with the profs, I would say you definitely have to put in your effort to get to know them, or else honestly they won't really know you. And you know, the TAs though are pretty nice. You may end up with some that aren't as nice, but it's it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I would say like the same thing. Like for Queen's Commerce, it's a 4-year program and you're in it for the long run. But like Selena mentioned, like, you know, if you want profs and TAs to remember you, you have to like meet them halfway or just participate in class. I feel like that's the easiest way to get them to remember you. But essentially, yeah, because the class is about like 80 people, it's not as much as Selena's. It's relatively easy to get the resources you need. You just need to meet them halfway. So what are the costs of tuition and living like? So I would say it's real expensive. I think Smith Commerce is the most expensive program at Queen's, around like $16K a year. So it's really helpful that they have scholarships. I know that when we were applying, Queen's was one of the more generous programs in terms of the scholarships. For me, I have a $25K scholarship for all 4 years. So thanks, Gerald, for supporting my education. No, it's the way that she had to record a sponsor video, like thank you. So that's why it's funny, that's why I'm laughing. But for Western, since Ivey is a 3rd and 4th year program, the first 2 years you can do whatever you want. So the tuition really depends on what you choose, but since I'm in BMOS, I would say it's one of the cheaper ones. It's around $6K a year for the first 2 years, and then once 3rd year and 4th year comes, it's around $25K a year. So they're like pretty much the same. Like we did the math. So getting scholarships are really important for us because our parents are paying for both of us at the same time, so it's a lot. Yeah, so it's definitely a plus that Queen's is more generous, I would say. Western scholarships, there's a few of them, but I would say they definitely don't give as much. Next question is, what is res or off campus like? So to reiterate, I'm living on res, so I would say it's actually like super convenient and it's really easy, I would say, to make friends just because you have everyone on your floor. But coincidentally, all my classes are near to my residence. And for some background information, we actually didn't visit any of the campuses of the schools that we applied to, which may seem like a huge red flag, and now thinking back on it, it does seem like a red flag. But we were under the impression that because you were going for the programs, we weren't really considering external factors. So we were under the thought of like it's all or nothing, so we didn't visit any campus. I would say res though, it's definitely like you should do it. I know it is a lot more expensive than living off campus, but that res experience is one that you only get once in your life. Wow. Okay, so I can only say it's okay. So again, I'm living off campus because of like the whole COVID situation. Our res spots were limited, so it was like lottery who gets chosen, and I didn't get chosen. We're actually close to campus. We're right across a res building. So we're basically on campus, but minus the res experience. And there definitely was a lot of adjusting to do. I know I had to learn how to make my own food and do my own laundry, and like it just takes a lot of time out of my day. And I feel like it was also slightly more difficult to make friends because we weren't with our friends all the time, but it is what it is. To add on, if those of you are even remotely thinking of doing the same thing that we did, don't recommend it. Please visit the campuses, because when I got here, I was very overwhelmed by how big the campus was. Like, I think to get from one end to the other, you have to spend 40 minutes walking, and I was not prepared for that. Yeah, please visit the campuses before you go. But I think after looking at, so I haven't actually went to Western, obviously, but from a day in a life video, which you should check out, we've linked that in our description box, I feel like Queens has a better campus, like it looks better than yours. Like, I saw one of the videos, and no offense, it looked like there was a flood going on at one point, and then her library, it looked like a car garage, and just, it's something else. So I feel like if you want nice looking campus, you know, help boost up your mood for studying, whatever, come to Queens. No, I think ours is better. I think ours is a lot better, but that's beyond the scope of this video. How is the food? So since I don't live on res, I chose not to get the meal plan so that way I could learn how to make food, but both of my housemates did, and having gone with them to the dining hall, the food's not the best because in terms of the paying plan, it's kind of like a buffet, so you just swipe your code once and then eat whatever you want, so I feel like it's very like quantity over quality. Yeah, no, we don't have that. Ours is you pay a standard meal plan, if you're living on res, obviously, at the beginning of the year, and then every time you buy something, you'll swipe your card and pay for it, so every single item you buy, you pay for it. So in that sense, if you use up all that meal plan, you can top it up and, you know, pay more money, but in that sense, I think it's definitely, it's maybe a little bit better, but a lot of people have conflicting opinions on that. The next question is, what's the party life like? So as a lot of you know, Queens and Western are pretty known for party schools. I'd say Western has a bigger reputation for being one. No matter how much the university is trying to change that this year by having exams on the weekends to prevent that, and the slew of events that happened at the beginning of the year, I would definitely say the parties are pretty fun. They're pretty up there. So if you're into partying, then this is the school for you. And if you're not, you know, there's a lot of people who aren't into that. So you can find your group and, you know, you'll be fine. Yeah, I agree. I feel like having a mix of parties and staying at home is like the best. So how is the transportation? I would say not the most convenient. Usually for school time, it's fine because I'm in walking distance, but especially when it's coming back to Toronto Food Reading Week, you start to notice the differences between the two schools because we have different methods like megabus and the train, but with the megabus, our one way is like the cost of Selena's two ways. So it's not the most price convenient, but usually I just carpool with one of my friends. So yeah. So I would say there's a lot of methods. You can also take the train, you can carpool, you can megabus, but I would say I usually megabus just because it's easier. Like the stop is right in front of my building, my res building, so it's easy, and it's like only like $30 after tax for one way. So in total $60 there and back. It's not bad. So it's pretty convenient. So next question, what extracurriculars are there? So there's definitely a lot of clubs. I believe Queens has over 200. I think we might have a little bit less than that, but there's still a lot. And if you're in Ivey, there's Ivey clubs specifically, but I think you need to be in Ivey to do those, like really targeted more towards people who are already in Ivey, but there's a lot of general clubs, and you can actually like really easily create your own. So definitely, like if you're worried about extracurriculars, don't be, there's a lot of them. Yeah, like Selena mentioned, at Queens, because there's so many, that was, I think, definitely a standout factor when I was choosing it, because I wanted to get involved with, you know, my community and the school, and specifically for program specific, for commerce, we have a student government called the Smith Commerce Society, and under there's a lot of different clubs, so depending on what area of business you want to go into, there really is a club for whatever your interests are. So why did you choose your program/university? So in grade 12, once we decided that we wanted to pursue business, we started to do research on the different business programs, and from there we really came down to two schools, which was Queens and Ivey, Western with Ivey. So naturally, when I got rejected from Ivey, that's why I came to Queens. And as well, because Commerce has a international exchange program in third year, where you get to spend a semester in a different country, that was definitely really intriguing. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I think for both of us, we actually were introduced to Ivey first by our dad, so that sort of was the goal that I set at the very beginning. And then when I got my offer like a lot earlier than I did for Queens, like several months, I had more time to kind of consider Ivey more, plus the career prospects. I think they produce the largest percentage of consulting grads, and at the time that's what I was interested in, so that's why I chose Ivey. I think for both of us, we don't regret it, but that's kind of our thought process. Plus, after we graduate, we get a larger network. So next question, how is your workload? So how many classes do you have? Yeah, so I have 5 classes per semester, so that's around 14 hours of class lecture time every week. I think that's 5 is the standard for a full-time student, right? I have 5 for this year, I have 5 for one semester and I have 6 for another one, so it's like 18 hours. Yeah, so again, for background information, I think for university in general, at least so 2 of us, it's like a lot of the time that you spend on your classwork is dependent on how much you want to spend. So it's not like high school where like the teachers are kind of on you to do assignments. It's really however much effort you want to put in is what mug you'll get. So both of us did Ivy. So in comparison to Ivy, this is also a general question that we get a lot from other people is like, was Ivy helpful? Was it worth it? So I know for both of us, we did get transfer credits from Ivy, but because of programs, it wasn't really applicable. We didn't get a chance to use them. But it definitely did help a lot with the time management. So we would recommend if you're doing IB, stay in it. If you are deciding, choose IB. Like it's a lot of work, but if you can do it, it's a good one. But no, I also think it depends though, because for our school, our IB program was very STEM based. So we took like stuff like biology, all of that. But since we're going to business, I noticed that some of my other friends who were also in IB, they had prerequisites like economics and accounting, which like was helpful for them when we were learning it. I was like struggling, and they were like, oh, I already got it, so I don't know, think about that. Yeah, I'd say at Western, a lot of our courses, the first year ones are introductory, so even if you haven't taken the prerequisites, you might be at a slight disadvantage, but as long as you put in the work, like you're more than fine. So how is the diversity balance? So I feel like for a few years now, Smith Commerce has sort of been slammed for their lack of diversity. So I know that like entering the program, diversity and EDI have been like such buzzwords, and I know the program is making a lot of efforts to change the courses that we're doing and how they relook and are gonna go about for the next like couple of years. So I feel like, although I haven't experienced anything bad yet, I feel like it's pretty diverse, and the program is getting more diverse in terms of the types of people that they bring into the program each year. Yeah, I'd say at Western, it's honestly a lot more diverse than I thought. But there's definitely still a majority of, a white population, but it's pretty diverse. Like if you're worrying about diversity, it's not something you need to worry about. Yeah, I feel like for both of our programs, like you can find the friend group that you want. Like it's not like you'll feel left out. So what was the application process like, and what average did we have to get in? So I would say the application process is pretty similar. We both had to fill in a supplemental application, write our essays, and then submit our grades. We both had to wait for the final IB grades to come out. But for Western, I believe the average they want for IB is a little bit higher. Like they usually say every year, a minimum, like around 90%, and it gets higher every year. And I believe the supplemental essay is also longer. It's like 500 words for 2 main essays, and you have a bunch of smaller activities that you have to write about. And for Queens, they definitely place more emphasis on the supplementals. I think it's like an 87 average cutoff, so once you reach that, then they're just looking at your essays. So it's 2 essays, around 2,000 words, and the topics, the questions that you have to answer will change for the couple of months during the application season. So yeah, I believe both of us went into university with like basically the exact same average. I think I went in with like a 95. And I had a 94.6. So it was really nice that we had each other acting as a coach for the other person, especially in the supplemental application process, as well as when we were doing research on the different programs. So since we applied to 5, we just split up the work, and it was just easier that way. But speaking of coaching, this video would not have been possible without our partnership with Youthfully, an organization committed to youth coaching and undergraduate admissions support. They offer one-on-one coaching to get into top programs, win prestigious scholarships, but more importantly, their coaches were once students who were in your shoes. Yeah, it's actually such an honor to get sponsored with them, because when we were applying with their applications, we actually used their comprehensive application blogs on their websites, which were free, and they offered very detailed like step-by-step instructions as well as examples. So we've also linked that in the description box below, so feel free to check that out, as well as we've made numerous application guidance videos, so feel free to check that out as well. So since Ivy is a second entry program, you need to be accepted to a Western program first in order to then be accepted for Ivy. So I was accepted into BMOS in early February, and I got accepted into Ivy in early March. So the thing with Western was they actually like used my grade 11 marks to predict some of, base acceptance off of, because a lot of my grade 12 marks, like math in particular, weren't out yet. So I think that's what they used to base the decisions off of. And for both of us, we were waiting for IB marks to come out. Yeah, so on top of that, since we were waiting for IB mugs, for Queens, we both applied during like the last round of questions, which was in February, so we got acceptances in early May. So what courses are you taking right now, and are prerequisite courses helpful? So for the entire year, because I can't remember, my courses are management accounting, financial accounting, managerial economics, principles of economics, organizational behavior, introduction to commerce, mathematical analysis, statistics, and my 2 electives. And I would say if you can have prerequisites, definitely do them because they will be helpful. Yeah, so I'm taking less courses. So I'm taking political science, film, math of linear algebra, and finite mathematics, micro and macroeconomics, organizational behavior and HR, and accounting. So I had 2 electives, and the other ones were, requirements. And I would definitely say if you can take prerequisites, do it. But if you can't, like for us, Ivy School is STEM-based, you're fine. Like, as long as you put in the work, you're fine. Because a lot of Western first-year courses, like I mentioned, are introductory ones. How are the career prospects? So you can actually find detailed reports on the graduates of both programs online. I'm pretty sure they publish it every year. It's pretty detailed, pretty comprehensive. But I think Western, like Ivy, has a stronger international alumni network. Yeah, I think Smith does too. But for this video, we were actually looking up when each program was established, and they're both around like 100 years, which was surprising. So how do you like your program so far? So I feel like Smith Commerce met all of my expectations coming into the program because there are a lot of resources, portals, profs, and also the students there who have a lot of valuable experiences to share. And I think what's really nice about this program is that because it's 4 years, there's so much time for you to build your network and get to know like-minded business students. Yeah, I feel like I'm in BMOS right now, obviously. I feel like BMOS isn't like the most amazing business program. Yeah, so I think it's because I'm here and I want to go to Ivy, like Ivy's the end goal, so I can, just do it. But definitely the lack of electives is one thing I didn't really enjoy that much, but I know for Ivy, it's much more close-knit. You're in sections of 75 people. There's the Ivy case study method, it's, the iconic one. So yeah, definitely looking forward to Ivy, but I would say BMOS is what I was expecting. We'll be doing a program comparison when she does get into Ivy, so you can look forward to that because it'll be more specific about, Smith, Commerce, and Ivy. So for the final question, it is, what would you rate your university experience out of 10? So I'd probably say like a 8 out of 10. Everything else has been like really amazing, like the people, I thought it was going to be really competitive. The people are going to be really competitive, but it's not, like the atmosphere is not the competitive at all. But I'd just say like why I give an 8 out of 10, not like a 10 out of 10, is just for myself. It took a lot for me to like transition into university life and, get used to taking care of my mental health as well as focusing on school and not stressing out too much about school, like just balancing everything. So I think that's like the only downside of it. It was just a pretty big transition. It was my first time away from home, away from Sarah. But yeah, other than that, I honestly don't regret coming here. For me, I would say like a 7 out of 10 because I feel like I had a larger transition in the sense that I was living off campus. I had to make my own food, my own laundry, really like focus on time management. That became a really big deal here. And then also in the fall, I kind of broke my foot, so that wasn't a pleasant time because walking to class became a struggle. So all in all, that was it. But I think in general it was also a really fun experience because I started going swimming 2 times a week, so that consistency I really liked. I also found some new meals that I like to make, and I also went bowling for the first time and met some amazing people that I now call my best friends. So yeah, I feel like it could have been better. Also the fact that halfway we had to switch back to online because of COVID, so we'll see. So that is it for this video. We hope you enjoyed this program and school comparison. Keep in mind, this is only our personal experiences. And also keep an extra mind that I'm also in Ivy with AEO, so I'm not in Ivy yet. If you're also stuck in the university application process or you want extra resources, be sure to check out Youthfully's resources for the blogs, coaching, and supplemental application tips, which we've linked in the description box below. They have a lot, so check it out. That's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye!